What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into Tour Life. We are in, I would say in studio, but really we're just in my Airbnb. I'm joined as always with Yuli. I'm Brody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight live if you're here with us or if you're listening to this after the fact. First, want to say the support that we've been getting for this podcast has been incredible. You were just talking about a story of just people coming up to you on the course.
Oh, during my rounds, during tournament rounds, and I'm playing against these people, and they're like, "I listened to you guys on the way here," and then they catch a butt in my face, and I'm like, "Oh, great topic."
Yeah, the support that you guys have given to us so far has been incredible, and we appreciate it. Yes. And we're trying to do more stuff. Look, we've got my camera. We're not on the laptop today. We're not on the table, so I can bang, and we got no wobble today, no bobbleheads. Big jam-packed show, but before we get into it, want to first off always thank our channel members, the Tour Life crew, TLC out there. We have a new, so we have a couple people you can see right now. We got Prowl, Pee-wee. We got a couple people that are showing off the new badge. So after 1 month, you go from a star to our cool like blue Tour Life badge. Very nice. But I think after 2 years, yes, we're making long-term deals, commitment. 2 years, you get the Yuli horse. Silas, it's time to show the people what the Yuli horse is. Anticipation.
Hold.
Just wait for it.
Hold.
And if you're listening, I'll describe it because I can't see currently anything. Maybe you guys can see it. I can't see it.
Maybe we start describing it.
Okay. Essentially, it is a sick logo of basically the Yuli logo and the Dark Horse logo combined. I'm not quite sure why it's not on the screen currently, but I'm sure Silas will figure that out and we'll get going at some point.
It's crazy. I was looking at the channel the other day and I noticed that like we're well in. Like I felt like it's only been a few episodes.
No, we're in the teens.
Yeah, that's nuts to me.
Yeah, we're in the teens.
The season's so
Silas,
fast.
are we dead here with the Yuli horse? Is the Yuli horse dead?
No, never dead.
It might be dead. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Okay, that's fine. You can try when you figure it out. You can bring it back up. Another thing to talked about is the Tour Series discs for Discraft are coming out. The plastic on these are really incredible, and I actually got to throw the Zone OS for the first time yesterday.
Okay.
And this is if you're watching, this is the design of it. But the plastic on all these things are very, very cool. I don't know exactly. I've been told multiple things. I believe the 21st is when they all will come out.
Yes.
But I don't think the Zone OS is coming out the 21st.
They got to do things with that. It's a brand new disc. So
yeah. So if you're looking for the Zone OS, just hold off. It will come out eventually at some point.
Hold your dark horses.
Hold your dark horses. Picks recap. Last week. Picks recap. We'll see if we can get that graphic on there. Hopefully this one works. Potentially. I think I messed something up with the Yuli horse because I would say majority of the time it's never Silas. It's always me.
Yeah.
So I think I did something, but maybe we can get the picks up at some point. Potential. No, it's okay. We're chilling. Last week was a great week for you though, with your picks.
Yeah.
And you're actually, it's getting harder and harder to remember exactly who we picked.
Right.
Which brings me also to another thing. Potentially, we might be moving the show back to Tuesdays because I believe the show was originally did Tuesdays.
Yes.
And then something came up to where we moved it to a Wednesday one week, and then we just never moved it back.
We need to move back.
I think Tuesdays is going to be better because my mind, it's hard for me to remember all the stuff that went down.
I agree with that. Plus,
I like it more fresh.
We're doing it the night before a major championship, which is tomorrow.
That is Dark Horse.
And so
I would like not to have to do that in the future.
Same. And we do have a few 4-day tournaments to where we would have to do it. Tuesdays just work a lot better.
Yeah, I think Tuesdays are going to be better. So be on the lookout for that to be actually solidified. We'll let you guys know when that actually happens. I'm going to move this real quick.
There you go.
And then we'll be good. Yeah. And then I can slide this way. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Okay. So I will just go over the picks because I'm not quite sure what's happening with the system right now, but we'll just go over the picks. So last week I went James Proctor had his worst term of the year.
But he was kind of killing it at first.
He was, and then he took like a centuple bogey and then a quad bogey or something to finish his round. Yeah, he like took like an 8 and then a 9. So unfortunate. Matty O also didn't have the greatest finish for him, finishing tied for 24th. And then Vino came up clutch with me with 1 point, finishing at 8th place. So thank you so much, Vino, for that. You, on the other hand, you killed it this tournament. You went Ricky Wysocki, tied for 6, 1 point. Kyle Klein, 3rd, 3 points. And then Bradley Williams, 2nd, 3 points, which will also have Bradley Williams on tonight. So to run down the show, because actually at this point in time, we started a little bit late, so we apologize for that. But at this point in time, we're going to have Brad on here very, very soon. And we have lots of questions, I think, to ask him. And then I also think he has... I want to really just give him the opportunity because I know he said some stuff on his Instagram.
Right.
But I don't know if everyone is watching that Instagram story. So I felt like let's get him on. Let's go through the process of what actually went down that final round.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of you might not even know that there's something that went down, and we'll go over that once he's on. I think he was my switch pick. I'm on fire with
your switch pick is always your last pick.
I think he was my switch pick.
Do you remember who you were before?
Yeah, I think I went for Samson, and then I switched, and he didn't even play. He didn't play again. That's back-to-back weeks.
Your switch pick is a thing of absolute beauty. It is unbelievable how good you are with the switch pick.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have Bradley Williams on tonight. Then we will also... Oh, Gooseman just walked in. Goose, do you want to come on and say anything real quick? The people want to say, just here, you can take my mic.
Yeah, the Goose.
Here he's right here. What do you have to say?
What do you have to say?
You had to get in.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling really good about Champions Cup. I'm sad for everybody that didn't get in. That's my biggest thing. I think there's 4 or 5 players that should be in this tournament that are not, and I feel bad for,
How did you get in?
My roommate Ezra. I had to qualify.
Oh.
On Monday.
That's huge, though.
To get into this major. It's a major event, and some of the top players have to qualify to get in. So
Gooseman Shred on his qualifier. So be on the lookout for Gooseman. All right.
Could be a pick. I don't know.
He might actually. I did have a practice round with him today. Oh, hey, we got the picks up. All right. So after Blue Ridge, we are now. You've taken the lead. You have 22 points. Yeah. I have 19 points. You know what we're gonna do though, and hopefully Steez Nerd is Steez. Excuse me. He likes to be called Steez now. Okay. Hopefully he's listening. We're doubling the points. Everything is double for a major.
I like that.
So
I'm all in.
At 1 is 2, 3 is 6, 5 is 10 now.
Wow.
So lots of points on the board this week for the major. So let's run through the show real quick before we get Brad on. We got Bradley Williams coming on. We got Nate Perkins coming on.
Yes.
Which I can't wait to talk to him. Then we've got to talk about the entire Blue Ridge Championship. We got to talk about what happened between me and you playing, all that. Then we've got world rankings, some major changes in the world rankings, and also some interesting comments from people that have changed in the world rankings. We've got new tour point standings results. And I think after this week too, this being 1.5x, so 150%, 150%, whatever. A lot of points are on stake for players this week. We'll go through the Champions Cup preview. We've been out here all week playing the course. We'll let you know our thoughts. And then we've got a few other topics at the end to run over. We got First Available, which I think is a hilarious one. I'm very interested to hear what your thoughts are on this. And then we'll make our picks. And that's it. So let's see. I don't know if Brad is currently in here. I'm 5 minutes out, he said 4 minutes ago. So he will be jumping in very soon. Let's set the stage just a little bit, I guess, while we wait for Brad. So Bradley Williams has been around the disc golf scene for a very long time.
Long time, yes.
He doesn't seem like an OG player, I guess, when you like watch him. He doesn't seem like, oh man, he's not old, but he's just been very good for a very long time.
Yes. I just saw a clip of him at the Beaver State Fling from like 2010, and
shredding.
He's just shredding, but the way he looks then and the way he looks now, it's just hilarious because you can really see that he has been around a while. Same thing with myself. You look at the way that I look then compared to now, it's like night and day difference. It's kind of hilarious, but
we need some like before and afters because some of these guys have been on. That would be really interesting because so many new people have been like tuning into the Pro Tour these last couple years that, I mean, if you were like, hey, who do you think this is? I might have a hard time knowing who that is. People look so much different. So I think like a before and after would be really cool for some pros. Like a Matty O. Like Matty O Worlds when he was wearing the same. But when he was wearing the was it the football jersey or something?
No, I think it was a
baseball jersey. Yeah, an A-Rod jersey is what he was wearing. Yeah. So seeing that then versus like seeing him now more like clean cut and stuff, like it'd be very, very interesting. All right, looks like Brad has joined, so Silas will get him on here in a second. But like we talked about, Brad is someone that I've had the pleasure of playing a few rounds with him in the tournaments. And I guess the best way of describing his game is like he doesn't make anything look hard.
No.
He throws shots where if you're watching it, it's like one of those things where you bring your girlfriend out for the first time to watch you play disc golf, and you just throw the perfect buttery like hyzer flip line through the tunnel and like hit basket, and you like look at her to be like,
look what I did,
and she's just not giving you anything.
She's like, she's like, yeah, what? Right?
That's kind of what he does. It just makes everything look very, very simple. Silas, we got him. I didn't even realize. Brad. All right, we can barely hear you. Silas, can we juice Brad's audio up potentially?
He's on mute.
No, I think we're on mute.
Oh.
No, I heard him say, hey. We're doing some new stuff too with our, what if I did AirPods and we both went one AirPod in?
Could work.
You want me to try that? All right, 1 second.
My camera has it muted.
All right, we're gonna try AirPods. You entertain the people.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, Brad, been around for forever, and I just saw that clip of the Beaver State Fling, and not only is that interesting that he's changed so much, but the Beaver State Fling used to be like the biggest tournament ever. We'll be back there this year for the Silver Series. Excited to do that for sure. But let's try to get Bradley in here.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do this. Sorry guys, this is the first time we've had guests on. And we're doing it through my computer, so we're hoping that this solves the problem. It's not you, Brad. If you can hear us, it's not you. It is 100% me.
Saying if I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, the mute's gone. All right.
You got anything in your AirPod?
Nothing.
Oh wait,
it just says it's connected. Hold on 1 second, folks.
Just gonna tell people when they're
Okay.
Oh, you know what it is? Wait, can I hear this?
No.
What if I go in here and do
there you
audio AirPods? Right now, Brad?
Above, wait, am I there?
Hold on. Sorry, guys. We're kind of doing this by the seat of our pants right now.
What about, why is there mute?
Wait, the mute's off now.
Screen.
Well, I'm not even getting audio from my computer right now through my AirPods, which is really weird. Let me do this. Oh, here we go. Tech Brody coming in hot. Brad?
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, nice job. Dude. That
freaking
was
Tech
awesome.
Brody coming in clutch. All right, sorry, we got it figured out. Brad, thank you for dealing with our amateurish hours over here.
Amateurish. We have a problem every week. It's not
Because we do something different every week. All right, Brad, thanks so much for giving us the time. We appreciate it. We're going to jump right into it right now because obviously we know big tournament tomorrow, and I know you're probably getting prepped and ready for that. So real quick, just so people can kind of see how your season's gone so far, you finished 49th at Las Vegas. You have a top 10 at Prodigy Presents Waco. Then you got a 115th at the Open at Austin. Did you finish that tournament, or was that the one that you DNF'd with the hand stinger?
Yeah, DNF.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because I think I played with you that round where you were like, my hand is completely numb, and I was like, that's gonna be really hard to play disc golf. Then you got 14th at the Texas State Disc Golf Championship. You got 25th at Music City Open, and then you're coming off a second at the Innova Blue Ridge Championship. So first off, like how do you feel like your season has gone so far?
Ever since like the big burst in competition and talent on the pro division, so since the Disc Golf Pro Tour has been kind of heating up the last 3 years, I feel like this is one of my better starts injury-wise. Despite having the DNF already once, I feel like I'm already a little bit more healthy and strong than I have been in the past. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic.
Okay, nice. You are currently right now 19th in points on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and you're 13th in the world rankings. I think you moved up 5 or 6 spots or something after your second place finish. We'll see if we can get some highlights up of your tournament, but I kind of want you just to, I know you went through kind of your thought process on the last 2 holes of Blue Ridge on your Instagram, but I kind of want to give you the opportunity, because I don't know if everyone listening, was able to see that. And obviously the way it went down, I don't know. There was just a lot of like questions, I guess you can say, with how the commentary was talking about it and everything. So I kind of want to just, if you want to just walk us through that final round, wherever you want to start, because I know like you had a huge putt on hole 3 from the drop zone, which was big, probably momentum to kind of keep it going. If you want to just kind of walk us through that final round, and then maybe we can get a little bit more deeper on the strategy behind how you played those last closing holes.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah, you're good.
So, when before the final round, obviously it's like coursework and course practice and picking your strategy. And I just felt that 17 and 18 were very defensive holes. If you had a lead, you could certainly play for par on 17 and 18. And it would be very hard to push and challenge for the come from behind win. So going into those holes, going into the weekend itself, I knew that I needed to have either a lead going into those holes, or it was going to be tough to do anything about it. The drop zone putt on 3 was definitely one of those moments where you feel like, okay, you've got it, like you're still locked in, you can make some moves. And then just keeping pace with Kyle and Calvin through the next few holes. It's one of those things that's hard to do because they make putts just outside of circle 1 look very casual, even though they're in it. You can talk to those guys, those 2 players, and specifically, you can chat with them. They're not very closed off. And then right when it's their time to play, they go in, lock in, swish a 32-footer. And sometimes that can be a problem. But I felt like I was able to stay in my own headspace and play my putts and play my routine. But I still lost a little bit of focus on 7, 8, 9. Those should be 2 out of 3 birdies for sure. And I let 3 of them slip in a bogey there. So at that point, it was like me and Calvin were thinking, dang, if we don't go crazy right now, we're out. Gannon and Kyle are just gone. So we both thought, well, I guess we're going to have to play a sidearm on 10, which we both didn't want to do. I prefer to throw a T-bird down to the bottom, and if I have a look, I take it. I did not want to throw a forehand on that hole. I didn't even practice a forehand at all.
I was going to say, what was your best on hole 10? What was your best look throughout practice that you got, circle like a long circle 2 putt?
Long circle 2 is the best look. I threw a roller once to get cheeky and see if I can kind of bend it up in there. And I never really got better than a circle 2 long. Did you have much success there with the forehand yourself?
I got it just outside of circle a few times in practice, but it's like if I didn't hit it right and it came out early, I was taking a 4. Like if you went in those woods early, right? So to me, I was just playing the backhand, and then I would just kind of chip something up there, and if it went in, great. But if not, like I was fine with taking a 3 on that hole every time, just because that short right rough was so brutal, so tough.
I went roller every round.
How really?
Yeah, I went in the woods right every round.
Yeah, it's so easy to do.
Oh, it's so easy. Yeah, I was scrambling. I ended up parring it every time, but it was like I had to hit it like a 60-footer from in there somehow. I hit it off a tree, and it went in for a par one of the rounds.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so if that hole was almost unbirdieable unless you hit a 60-footer with a perfect backhand drive or you had the sidearm play.
Yeah.
So let's skip forward a little bit here. You ended up birdieing 15, which is not the easiest hole to birdie. I think a lot of people watching that hole, I don't know if they did a great job giving it justice of just how difficult that hole was to like get into like a landing zone. And then even sometimes, like even when you were safe in there, like the approach shot, like it was like a low ceiling and then some really awkward stuff. So you got the big birdie on 15. You got the big birdie on 16. Are you looking at the scores at this point after those 2 birdies to kind of see how everything is shaping out?
No, that's like when the rain was starting to kind of pick up. So it was sort of fast golf. We didn't really look at scores until we were waiting on 18's tee.
Okay. So when you got to 17, you had no idea kind of where you were. You kind of probably knew where you were in relation to the people on your card, but
Correct.
You didn't really know what was happening in the card in front of you once you got to 17.
I didn't know what Gannon was up to yet.
Okay. And I think also just as far as like the time goes, even if you did look at your scores or looked at UDisc, I don't believe Gannon had thrown OB yet on his tee shot on 18 by the time you teed off. So I thought the way you played 17, I don't think it makes any sense to go for that.
Right.
So the way I thought you played 17 made a whole lot of sense to me. Okay. So now we're moving to 18. What's happening now? Because obviously the weather is completely different.
Yeah.
It's downpouring. The winds look gusty as heck. Was it super steady winds or was it just ripping every once in a while?
Let's paint the clear picture of what's going on. Bradley's on the lead card.
Yes.
He's on the lead card. He's leading the tournament before the round starts. So he has a little bit of control with that. Gannon's on the second card playing in front of them. Mm-hmm. So he has a little bit of time, which is super important, especially with the way that it ended up shaking out with the weather. So your lead card, you're waiting for Gannon to play 18. Go.
Yeah. So we're all huddled up under me, Calvin, and Kyle are all huddled up under the tent there, the awning on 18. The rain's starting to fall, and the wind's picking up. And Kyle's like, Gannon went OB. And it's like, well, he can either get up and down for a bogey or it could get worse. And at that moment, I'm thinking, okay, there could be an opportunity here to challenge the wind, depending on how bad this gets for Gannon. Mm-hmm. But I also need to be, I need to watch out for Calvin and Kyle. And yes, I had to lead the attack on my drive, so I had to open up the hole. Or I think actually Hunter did.
Let's what was Gannon's score when this whole process is going on? Because I think that's super important. What was he at, and then he goes out of bounds? So how many strokes did he have on you guys?
I think it was 3 on Brad, right?
Yeah, it seemed for me at that point, it seemed like Gannon had gotten first, and I needed to watch out for Calvin and Kyle.
Because I think you only had Calvin and Kyle by 1 or 2, maybe at that point. It was pretty close between all of you guys.
Yes.
But obviously we know how 18 can go, and it can get real bad in a hurry.
Right. And so I think Gannon, had him by.
I think he had him by two. No, I think you had him by two, and then you guys both ended up bogeying that hole. So then, because he finished two ahead of you. Yes, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So it seemed like Gannon was going to be out in front. He's going to win the tournament, and I needed to watch out for the guys on my card. And then the wind picked up, and it was my turn to throw. And I didn't throw the disc as hard as I needed to throw it. I took my most stable destroyer, and I was going to play a hard flex.
What was the wind doing at the time? Like what direction?
It was like it felt like it was coming kind of like left to right head in my mind.
Okay, yeah. So so that probably makes sense because Gannon kind of did the same shot where he like threw an overstable disc on a flex line and it just never came out. And I think the wind probably just took it OB right. Okay, so that's a very, very hard tee shot.
It's a hard tee shot because you're thinking if I really go for my distance disc and the wind takes it, I'm going to be OB right in the creek. And the wind's like picking up. So I was like, I didn't want to throw my most stable disc because I didn't want to go left and be in a bad position, but I just didn't want to be on the right OB either.
Yeah. No.
Kind of pinched in that situation.
I felt very pinched in my disc selection. I didn't feel like I got to pick the best disc for me to play that to the green. But I just made like a safe disc selection. That's the way I felt.
And plus you're rushing through everything because of the way that the weather is. So you couldn't really get up on the tee pad, feel the wind, take your time, go back to your bag, go do all the check marks that you need to, especially down the stretch of a big tournament. Like that's a big time process that you normally go through.
It would have been ideal to walk up with one or two discs and kind of think about where you needed to be on the fairway and take some time to like plot out like how much does this wind really going to matter. I felt like I didn't have the opportunity to process that. It was like grab a disc, run out there, don't get a water droplet under your thumb, and throw it.
Yeah.
So you basically barely land in bounds, right? I didn't even realize how close it was until they showed the camera. You almost went OB left. You're in a spot. You're in a spot there that I probably would give like the percentage of being able to land on the island with no bad weather, like no wind, no rain, like 2%, 1% from there. Like you would have had to throw a distance drive, like hyzer flip, max shot, right? Because
the whole tournament could throw from that spot and nobody land in bounds. That's how hard it was.
Yes.
I think if I threw my best drive, I would make it on the peninsula, but I would be like 25 short of the actual OB line. So I'd be OB.
Yeah. Because it was just an absolute pump to get to from where you were to get all the way up there. So I think the part that a lot of people were questioning, okay, is you throw the smart throw up into the woods. Don't even dance around with the OB right because that would make no sense to go OB right when you're trying to lay up. What's going through your process now because at this point you've seen Calvin, I believe, go OB and you've seen Kyle go OB?
Kyle's safe. Kyle just duffed one. So
you're right. Yes.
So he's going to be in a tough position to go for the green. And Kyle and I had a powwow after Kyle went OB. We all met under Kyle's umbrella and we were already planning to lay up one more time. Before we even got to Kyle's third.
Okay.
Because the rain was just like, it was so heavy and intense. We were just thinking there's no way we're going to be able to get here and focus on trying to throw it in. For me, I have like a real deep ritual whenever I want to try to throw in chip shots.
Yeah.
I don't find success grabbing a disc and just reacting. I feel like I've kind of warmed up the process whenever I make my throw-ins. And so when it's like monsoon rain and wind, I feel like there's no chance I'm going to make a chain hit.
Did you have, because I saw you switch discs, did you have your throw-in disc in hand at one point and then you went back and changed it to a disc to lay up with?
I had my throw-in disc in my hand and I was like, my gut really wanted me to do it. Like I wanted to take a shot at it, but then I was like, we already had a plan. Like we don't have to. The embarrassment of like failing on that shot and maybe failing again and then dropping to fourth or fifth. Yeah. Like if the worst case scenario happened, it would be really embarrassing for me when I could just lay up and get second, which is a really good finish.
Do you think if you would have had a caddy, because I remember too, because I've been there too, where you set your umbrella down and then the wind just rips it and it's like going down the fairway. It gets real chaotic. Do you think you would have done anything differently had you had a caddy there with an umbrella, with your bag under the umbrella, so that you can kind of like stand underneath it with you know what I'm saying? Like where you could potentially have gone through your ritual that have?
I think if I had a caddy, like for anyone who's ever worked with me on the bag, they know when those like tight moments when I'm anxious and that it's something pivotal about to happen, each moment, each 1 second for me feels like a minute sometimes. But I feel like, oh my God, I'm out of time. I need to throw, but really it's only a few seconds have gone by. I remember when I played basketball in high school, I used to like shoot my free throws really quick. I would do like dribble, shoot. And people would be like, take your time, you know, like loosen up, roll your shoulders. Like you can make these points, we can win the game. So I think if someone was there and they laid out like the whole table, like, hey man, you could mess this up. Your lie would be right here. I know you can get up and down. Like, do you want to take a shot at this? Like, we have the discs. I think if someone was there talking to me under an umbrella, I think we could have come to some sort of an agreement. But in that moment, it was like me versus like the other me, right? It's like the desire to throw it in, to show off, the guy who wants to do something heroic. And then it's someone who's like, let's be smart and get a good finish.
Yeah. Cause that's what I feel is if you had the time and the weather wasn't crazy, they could have been like, hey, listen, worst case scenario, you're getting a tie for second.
And let's make sure we know for the people listening, like we're not talking about just rain. Like we're talking the heaviest rain that we've seen all year.
Crazy wind.
You go outside of your umbrella flies away.
It's also getting very cold.
And you're drenched and it's cold. It's literally worst case scenario.
Yeah. It's like when you go in to take that test that you didn't really study for that well, and they've got the AC cranked to like 60 and you just sit down and you're immediately starting to like shiver with the pencil. You're like, I'm about to fail this thing. This is not good conditions to actually perform well. Okay. One thing, I don't know if you saw this, Brad, because I know we can talk a little bit if you want about like the financial side of things, which I thought was very interesting. And I think was also very honest from you to just kind of let people in on that, because I don't think a lot of people really realize how some of these decisions at the end of tournaments really matter.
Yeah.
Because I think some people just think, oh yeah, all these guys playing are millionaires and money doesn't matter at all. Right. And that's not necessarily the case at all. And so I don't know if you saw this tweet. We'll see if Silas can pull it up, but I can read it out for you too. And for the listeners, it said, this is from I Am Tulo. It basically says that Bradley Williams from second to first, the difference is $1,000. From second to fourth, $800. He played to the percentages to lock in a payday instead of risking $800. $800 gets you 1.5 car payments, 2 to 4 nights at an Airbnb, 230 gallons of gas. So I think he did I think that tweet does a really good job of really kind of showing the bigger picture of what your decision going one way or the other, like the impact on that. Do you want to talk a little bit kind of about how that maybe your play style might change based off of that?
And it's bigger than that. I mean, tour points are huge. That gives you a lot of tour points right there, which guarantees you almost with just that finish if you play.
Big paycheck.
Big paycheck and your tour card for next year.
Yes.
Which is huge. Which is tough to come by these days.
Yes.
And not only that, a bonus from your company.
For a podium finish.
For a podium finish, without a doubt. So go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, and Innova gives you $600 for podium finish. I average $500 to $700 every week for Airbnbs and groceries. So like every event I play, I'm spending at least that much money to be in that town that weekend.
Right.
I also have a clutch that needs to be replaced in my car, which is $3,000. And then another personal goal this year was to just remind myself that no matter how I'm feeling, I can fight for points. Like that's one of the beautiful things about the Pro Tour is if you make it to the Tour Championship, they give you a check for $2,500 for being one of the top athletes on the tour, and that helps you get some of that money back for those 30th place finishes you have sometimes, because you keep grinding it out, and you get invited to play the tournament, and it's like hey, well done, we're glad to have you on the tour, you're a valuable member, like here's some of the money you put in comes back to you.
Yeah, because for a lot of people, unless you're finishing pretty high up the leaderboard, you are losing money that week.
Every week.
Yeah,
so,
every week. I think 15th to 20th, you're losing money. Well, 15th and down, you're kind of losing money.
It's like right at the 15th, like kind of the break even. So that kind of just puts it into perspective, I think, of, right now our purses aren't at this ridiculous level of where you're like, you know what, I'm going to go try to throw this in because I might be able to win $100,000. And if I don't, I'll still win 50.
Well,
it's a little bit different, I guess.
I also think it has to do with kind of personality types. Not even that, but being on tour for so long, like you've seen the outcomes of this scenario. And if you're a newcomer, you're throwing that thing at the basket as hard as you can, and you don't care because you're trying to get that first win. We're talking about a seasoned veteran who just won, what was it, 2 years ago?
No, last year, Preserve.
It was last year, Preserve. Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year at the Preserve. Sorry, Brad. And so this isn't like some rookie. Mm-hmm. This is a guy making calculated decisions down the stretch of a tournament, which he got there with calculated decisions, and he made the best choice, I think, especially because I'm watching live. I'm watching it all go down. And I'm seeing the commentators talk about it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, no, you can't make that shot. Like, nobody's making that shot. Like, that's a 1 in a million shot, especially with the rain and everything. And if he does what he's supposed to do to make the shot, the likelihood that he stays on the island are almost impossible. The only chance he has if he goes for the shot and he makes the island is if he throws a horrible shot.
Yeah, I think camera angles are very, very important as well. Like how they position the camera. Cause I think the way they had positioned the camera was a little bit offset from you. I don't know if you went back and watched the live coverage of it. You were far enough back left to where I don't even know. Did you have like a clear shot, like a clear putter shot at it? Or would you had to flex something or kind of manipulate the line a little bit?
I would have had to have played like an anti-flex into the headwind or a steep chip angle hyzer, which like neither one of those are the ones that like I usually make.
You're super comfortable with. Yeah.
I usually like to play kind of at it with a little tiny ante, more of a flat shot.
Right.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we know Champions Cup is around the corner, so we won't keep you much longer in this. We do have my favorite segment, and everyone else watching right now, their favorite segment is the pet peeves segment. So essentially, Brad, what we want to know is what are your biggest disc golf pet peeves? What's something that really just gets under your skin? It can be something that your friends do when they play disc golf with you. It can be something that other competitors do that annoy you. Anything that just gets kind of a little bit under your skin.
Let's see. That's a good question. Let's see. There's a lot of things that probably get under my skin, but I let go. I think one of the things that gets under my skin the most is when you're playing on a card with someone and they can't, without the ego, just kind of like talk neutral about golf or themselves just in like a few moments. Like I'm not looking to really chat with people all the time, but it's frustrating when like some people just have so much ego and they just can't even say a real straight like sentence to you.
Right. You're like, so how's your day going? And they just like kind of shake you off. They're like, You're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna.
I feel like I might have done that before when I was playing bad, where I was just like, I can't talk to anyone right now. I can't even throw a frisbee. Please don't let me try to have a conversation with me. That's a good one. Yuli, you got your question?
Yeah. So going into the final round, you're leading. What is that like now? Because you even at the beginning of this interview, you said, you know, with the Elite Series really gaining traction as far as talent goes, it's more talent than we've ever seen. We all know that.
Yeah.
And what I want to know is from a veteran who isn't like a prolific winner like Paul McBeth and all those guys, right? And so What is that like holding a lead going into the final round? Where's your mental at?
I think there's way more excitement now. I always felt back in the day that like no matter if you shot good, really good, no one would know. You were like in the woods in Arkansas. You were and like and people didn't know. Like it felt like it went under the radar. I feel like now people know, and there's so much more excitement when your choices and your strategy put you so high on a leaderboard that you worked for all weekend. It's so satisfying. It's more satisfying than it's ever felt in my career now. So just like any opportunity to play with people who are like-minded, who put themselves like higher and higher up the leaderboard, you start to see that everyone's got like these beautiful strategies and like mental routines. And it's like, it just makes you feel like you're surrounded by people who like really love disc golf.
Yeah. The fans don't hurt either. It's always fun to play in front of fans, whether they're rooting for you or not.
Yeah. No, well
Either
said.
way.
Like, I mean, the fans being involved now is definitely one of the biggest things that attributes to how you feel, because any sort of like group collective sigh or clap or applause really just helps you stay in it, I think.
Yeah.
Love that.
All right, Brad. We appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much. Champions Cup coming up. We wish you best of luck, and thanks for popping on Tour Life tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a good one, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Bradley Williams there, folks. Taking down Preserve, getting second. He's just putting himself in the equation more and more often, I feel like, in some of these tournaments. And some tournaments, too, like Bradley Williams, I thought was a woods guy.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was like a shredder in the woods. And, like, he won Preserve, which is, like, not in the woods, and then got second at this course, which I'll tell you right now, not in the woods. So maybe he's just a shredder.
Well, I think one of the things with that is, and I tell this to a lot of people who are coming up there, like, what do I need to learn? What can I do to compete against the best players in the world? And if you can throw a 420-foot dead straight shot, you can compete on any course in the world. Mm-hmm. Period. If you can throw that shot, land it soft, that game travels anywhere. And nobody really does it with more control than Brad. With those straight, soft flying shots.
Good.
He's so smooth. He's so in control. And the one thing I love about him, and this is just proof, he doesn't go outside his game plan.
No.
He sticks to it, obviously.
Yeah. And I don't think, too, he's going, like, he got slammed by hundreds of people for his decision.
Yeah.
He seems completely fine. Like, I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he's going to be like, well, next time I'm going to be super reckless and I'm just going to freaking try to ace the lot. You know, he seems like he's completely fine, completely content with his decision. And it doesn't seem like there was any regret. And I think that's huge. I think that's massive for kind of moving forward.
Well, it just talks about his mindset of, you know, he just came off of a Preserve win last year, and the guy knows how to win. Like, you're not going to teach a guy something new. He's learning that himself on the lead card. Of course, there's going to be people typing on their keyboards being like, I would have went for that. It's like, you would have. And you would have hit the first tree probably and taken a 12 like a lot of other people did in the tournament. So hats off to him. Good playing. Great guest, Bradley Williams.
All right, we've got Nate Perkins here in a second. Nate Perkins, for those that I feel like everyone listening to this is probably knows who Nate Perkins is, but maybe not. You never know. So I knew Nate Perkins. My first like introduction to him was this dude was a D1 athlete, an absolute monster that decided to play disc golf, had a really, really good disc golf career, and then has like slowly kind of transitioned into more of a media style.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always thought we needed really badly in our live coverage was on-course analysts, someone that is there that can really let the people know how hard of a shot is or where the disc is. It's so hard to do that in the booth. And obviously you guys do it all the time in post.
Right.
It is difficult.
Yes.
And so I think he has done an incredible job with the on-course stuff. And then I don't know, we'll get him in here in a second. I don't know if last week was the first week he was doing the actual live commentating, but I thought he also did a great job with that as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was his first time doing the live.
All right, Silas, can we get our boy in here? Nate, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nice.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, we appreciate you being a little bit flexible there. We everything's new, right? We're learning new things here on this podcast every week. So we apologize for the tardiness on our end, but we're glad you're finally here. So we gave a quick little background. I guess my first question, just to clarify, was this past week the first time you were actually in the booth doing commentary?
Yep, this was my first live disc golf broadcast in the booth.
Nice. Okay. How nervous were you going into that?
I definitely had some nerves going into it. I mean, it's always, you're always trying to make sure you're staying in the moment and not thinking about, potentially saying something wrong or, saying an incorrect stat or just like saying something that's going to make you look dumb. Like it's easy to kind of think about things from someone else's perspective and how you're going to appear. But as soon as the broadcast started, I realized that it was easy for me to stay in the moment. And I've been, working in post-production for, 7 years, and I love the game. So it was really, really easy for me to kind of dive into the moment and just like stick to the golf. So.
Yeah. And I think not only do you have a great mind for the game, like I love hearing you talk about it, but I also think a thing that's kind of crucial is like the voice. Like if I'm going to listen to someone for 4 hours, I can't be having the voice I have where it's like, hey guys, what's going on? So I think you got a lot. I think you got a lot of stuff going for you on that front.
Well, it's funny because as soon as he comes on, and I've known Nate Perkins for a long time, but as soon as he comes on the podcast, it took me straight to DGN. It really did. Like I'm like, oh, that's Perks. Like so, that's so funny that it's literally transferring that fast, man. Kudos to you.
All right, so
Yeah, that's great.
I wanted to have you on because I went out there Monday to watch the qualifier. I was doing some live tweeting between I was mostly following Ezra and Aaron's group, but I was kind of live tweeting just results. And a few holes in, I look at the leaderboard and you're like 5 under or 4 under through the first 6 or 7 or something. Like you came out like a lightning bottle. I didn't even know you were trying to play in this thing. Like walk us through the Champions Cup qualifier. And for those that don't know, just to kind of let everyone know, the qualifier situation was kind of a big blunder this year. There was a whole lot of really, really good players that did not get in to the tournament because they did not sign up on time. And so you have this crazy wait list, potentially like one of the greatest wait lists of all time.
Yeah, really.
It very well might have been the greatest wait list of all time, all vying for 8 spots. And you were on that wait list, and just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with last weekend's tournament. I was on course for the Disc Golf Network for the FPO, and then I was in the booth with Brian for the MPO. But then I also was leading Central Coast post-production. So I did both FPO and MPO post-production. I call it the quadruple crown. I'm the only other person that's messed with a job like that. And basically I was featured on 10 to 12 hours of disc golf content every day for 3 days. And
That's insane.
And I wasn't initially planning on going to the qualifier because I'm still trying to find that balance between playing and talking about disc golf. So, but I found some motivation, and I decided to take the final evening off of post-production and clear things up with Central Coast. And as soon as the round was done, following like the lightning delay and everything, we finished at like 7:45. I had like a 4-hour drive, but I was running on like no sleep for the past 2 days. So I pushed that 4-hour drive, made it to Appling, Georgia, slept at my gym, and got like 4 hours of sleep. Woke up, went into the Anytime Fitness gym, and got a good workout in, and just like got the blood flowing, and still just not really on too much sleep. So feeling pretty exhausted. Um, and I had the first tee time 8 a.m. I'm playing with Kevin Jones, Matt Dollar, and I was feeling warmed up from the workout, and just just throwing some shots in the morning, and first forehand comes out clean. I birdie hole one. Oh, am I muted?
No, you're good.
You guys still got me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool.
Yep.
Birdie one, birdie two. Have a putt from 50 on 3, have a putt from 40 on 4, 50 on 5, 50 on 6, birdie 7, have another putt on 8, putt on 9. Like I was inside circle 2, inside 50 feet on the entire front 9.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Was just feeling good, playing clean, and bogeyed 10, and then I got 2 birdies on the back. I birdied the par 5, and then I actually got a pretty sick birdie on 17 up the right side through a little skinny gap, like just got up and down and got to 5 down, a good par on 18. And then I was pretty happy with the round, and honestly, like, also slightly bummed that some of my friends weren't going to make it. I played with Kev. He's obviously a good friend. I saw Ezra score. I saw him after I think he doubled a hole.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate that, only 8 of us make it. And there's a lot of guys, Garrett Gerthy, that, they can still win a major, and they haven't won a major yet. So obviously we'd love to see all those guys playing, but I was pretty stoked to make it in the fashion that I did.
Yeah. So you kind of were talking a little bit about trying to find that balance. What makes you decide to play in some tournaments and not play in some? Because clearly your transition into the media world, right? You kind of going more that route and doing more on that side is not because you can't compete. Like, you just showed 5 under on, if you shoot 4 or 5 unders at Champions Cup, you're finishing probably pretty high this year, especially because I think the course is going to be playing a stroke, if not maybe a stroke and a half.
A top 10 finish, I would say.
Yeah, a stroke, or if not a stroke and a half harder than last year with how they made the changes on 14 and 18. So, like, what goes into deciding when to play a tournament and when not to?
Yeah, there's a few factors. One of them is that there's only so many jobs available with the Disc Golf Network, and the way that I see it is that, I'm trying to keep my foot in the door there because I love doing that, and I want to do that down the road. And if someone gets in there, like, if, let's just throw out Nate Sexton, Nate Sexton retires early and gets in there, like, I just don't see someone like that losing that job ever. Like, it's like, as soon as Tony Romo got in there, like, he's just going to be in there for as long as he wants to do it. So I'm trying to get my foot in that door because I love it. And at the same time, I love competing. I definitely still can play at a high level. It's hard to maintain that level of confidence when I don't put all my effort toward it. And so if I don't have that confidence, one of my mentors is sitting right there with you, Paul. He always told me to not play a tournament if I don't feel like I could win. Like, why are you playing if you're just playing for position? So it's hard to know, if you still have it. So, it's there's a few factors, and one of them honestly is financial decisions. Like, I don't have like huge savings account or anything. So I'm still out here living in a van and grinding, and the disc golf network is decent pay. And if I'm not winning tournaments or cashing high in tournaments, it's not necessarily great pay. So a little bit of it is financially based. But it primarily, I'm making sure that I'm getting my foot in the door with the disc golf network, so that if I want to continue with that lifestyle, I can.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. How has the transition been from, playing almost every week, I'm assuming, to getting behind, getting on the course, and like, how has that been with
10 hours of and commentary?
And you also have like a really good relationship with a lot of people on tour. Has that been difficult to kind of, create that barrier so that you have that professionalism when you are interviewing your friends and stuff? I saw the interview that you did with Paige Pierce after she won the Open at Austin. Like, how has that been?
Yeah, that's a good question, Brody. I definitely think about that. I'm very conscious of the way that I treat the players when I'm in that role. And I try to basically use my relationship with them to my advantage, but in a very professional manner. Like, I know them well, and so I know how to get them to open up and share about their experience with all the fans. And at the same time, I keep it professional, and I make sure to not, obviously to not make it feel like the fans are thinking that it's just our thing and that we're just like giggling up there or something. I still try and ask the questions that the fans want to hear and that the media wants to hear, and I get the players to talk about things that they do want to talk about. But yeah, there's been some times where I'm like, man, I kind of feel like I shouldn't be interviewing this person, or this isn't right. But I think that it's all been good so far, and honestly, it's been an advantage to have a relationship with the players, because I've been able to get some players say some stuff that I don't think other people would have been able to. So I think that I'm valuable to DGN in that regard.
Nice. Do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I want to know. I'm curious because you're at a point now where you have to pick and choose, and it sounds to me like it was even like a 50-50 deal. Like, do I even want to go try to qualify? You decided to do it. I'm curious because I saw a couple of posts from other people who got in, and in their post for qualifying, it was like a couple of them said, like, this is the most nervous I've ever been in my career. Like, I've ever been, because majors mean so much to everybody. I'm curious, and I think I know, but coming from your perspective, was there more nerves than ever, or were the nerves kind of subsided because of the approach you're bringing to the game?
Yeah, honestly, I think that the nerves have slightly lessened for me, because I'm not putting everything toward the competition, and so the failure feels a bit different. I'm not like living and dying whether I'm cashing or not. That day I was not too nervous, and there's just, I still haven't found the solution for on the putting green. I'm still struggling at short distance, and I was calm on hole one, but as soon as I got up to that first 24 footer, I'm still just like, my heart rate increases, and I'm trying to find my breath, and whether I'm playing good or not, I'm still finding those nerves. And yeah, I think it's one of the things that keeps me coming back, is that I've just failed so many times at this game, but I know that I can compete. And so I still want to go and try and find that happy place out on the green, and actually make all my putts for a weekend and see what that does for me.
Yeah.
Now that you've done both, which one do you prefer, being on course or being in the booth?
Oh, I definitely prefer being in the booth. Yeah,
Less walking.
I definitely. Well, I
AC.
want to. If I'm going to commit to this, I want to be one of the people telling the story. You know, I because I love all the people that have done it, but I also think that that we've somewhat limited our like our potential fan base with the way that we've told the story of some of our tournaments. And I think that honestly, I think Brian and I make a good product, and I really want to continue working in the booth. If I'm going to be at DGN, I want to be one of the voices like telling the story. So.
And one thing too that I think, because you kind of mentioned like if Nate Sexton gets in there, he's not leaving ever, right? And you might be true on that. I mean, obviously, people really like what he does, and he's a big, fan favorite. But I think one thing that would be very interesting is like you just mentioned you and Brian. I thought you two worked really, really well together. So I could see something, because this happens in other sports, other broadcasts as well, of where one broadcast team, because essentially if the Disc Golf Network continues to grow, right, we're not going to just be broadcasting disc golf for 3.5 hours. It's going to be 6-7 hours, right, to really tell the full story. And that's going to be really tough for one broadcast team to be in the booth for that long. So I could see something of where one team comes in and does the first 3 hours, 3.5, and then, all right, guys, we're switching it over to blah, blah, blah. We'll see you tomorrow. And then that's the other team. So I do see there is potential of more commentators. And then the other thing that I think is kind of what we're doing right now, of where we're just really highlighting a few players with the limited cameras that we have. I think that's another thing in the future too, of where you can watch the broadcast, and the broadcast is going to tell the full story of the tournament. But if you really just like watching Yuli and Calvin and Kevin and Luke play, they have a feature card, and you will just see every one of their shots. And then they have their own commentary for that, broadcast. So like there's a lot of potential, I feel like, in the future. Obviously a lot of stuff has to change. And with that, my question is, what do you think right now? Like, what are some of the big things that the Disc Golf Network needs to do to like improve the live coverage as a product?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I totally agree with you about the expansion of the total duration, and also the feature groups. I mean, I think that the Masters app is like one of the best app in sports. And the way that they do it, it's so good. The way that they do it with the featured groups and the aim in corner and in the live with all the different, people, all the different voices on there. The Disc Golf Network, I think one of the things that they can do to improve coverage is to feature other athletes on there, and also to not focus so much on who is winning, but just to broaden it to golf, because I think we're so focused on just who's going to win and how many strokes are they ahead and everything. But when I watch a golf broadcast, they hardly ever mention that. It's really just showing this shot, talking about the difficulty of this chip. And I think that whenever we just show, like, for example, if they have 8 people, they've got 4 people on the lead, 4 people on the chase, and one person on the chase is doing good, they'll potentially just show that one person on chase, and they won't even show the other 3. And I'm at home wondering, like, hey, how's Calvin playing? I know, how's James up? I think that they kind of limit themselves because they focus the story so much on just first place, when I think that there's a lot of good golf shots to be seen around the course. And I also think that they're limiting their number of assets by just showing the people who are playing the best every week. Because if they show all these other players who are throwing 6 shots, they might not might not be winning, but they're throwing 6 shots, and if we continue to feature more of them, then they're going to grow as an asset, and more assets that the Disc Golf Network has, like the Disc Golf Pro Tour has, the better everyone's going to do. So I think they've been kind of just limiting their assets to like, the 8 or 10 people that they show every week. So that's what I think they could do better.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you just said too, is so right on, because the issue they're having right now is not, we have so many people throwing shots that we have to stop showing shots of this person, because there are so many times where we're not seeing shots and we're just seeing people talk to each other. I always make the joke of like, we're seeing people play tic-tac-toe in the mud. We see people playing hacky sack. We see people like petting dogs. And it's like, I'm with you, man. I want to see shots. Yeah. Like when I watch disc golf, I don't care if the person is in, 100th place and 30 over par. I would much rather watch them try to throw their 17th shot on 18 than watching Calvin and someone else talk to each other that I can't even hear the conversation. And I'm just staring at two people like me and Yuli. This is what the people at home get to see a lot of times. That's not interesting. That's not interesting. Show me shots. So I 100% agree with you, man. Yeah. I want to see more shots. Yeah. I want to see more shots.
I think that's so important. See more shots for sure. But I also think with what you're saying as an asset, what we're doing with a broadcast is we're storytelling. And with those assets, every single individual has their own story, which we have no clue what's going on. We see, like, for example, on traditional golf right now, a big storyline is Ricky Fowler making his comeback, and they'll switch to him, even if he's in 25th or 56th or something, because that's really good compared to what he's been doing in the past with missing cuts. And that's a huge storyline because people love him. And they love him because he was on lead cards and he was chasing major championships, and now he's not. People like to see that comeback. Well, guess what? Every single person on the Pro Tour has their own story. And I 100% agree that we're kind of missing that mark with telling the story of what is that individual really going through, and can we broaden it in a way that we can push that to the audience to make it interesting.
I was just making sure your car's not getting towed. Sorry. All right. Last thing I got for you before, because what's your tee time tomorrow?
11:17.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're early with me. So we'll let you go here in a second. But last thing I got to ask you, and this might be a good one too, because you're in the media side too. So you might have some like dark horse media pet peeves. Oh, one thing I want to tell you, because you know people, and I want you to tell someone this, because this tricked you up on broadcast, and it's tricked up so many people. It's tricked me up so many times. The score that matters is your overall score.
Okay.
I'm not talking to you here. I'm talking to the graphics person. The score that's the most important is the overall score. Yeah. If I'm in round 3 and I'm 13 under par, that number needs to be featured, not the score of my round 3. And I think right now, with whatever graphics they have, when they pull it up, that number's like, your overall number is like hidden by your name. And the big number is like what your round score is. And then when they go into like the leaderboard too, it's very confusing sometimes. Like the far right number needs to be your overall score. It needs to be bigger than all the other numbers, and it needs to be your overall score. So I can like just look and be like, oh, these are the leaders. He's 22. He's 20. He's right now, the way they have it set it up. And I've seen people on social media hit me up with this. Yep. It's so confusing. It takes me a second to be like, wait, what's going on? What's happening? So, I don't know if you can talk to someone. I don't know if that's a UDIS problem or whatnot.
I'm with you.
But I would love that. So yeah. Okay. So last question. Sorry.
It actually did get us.
Well, yeah, no, it was, I was with you too. Cause I saw you were talking about like the cut line was like +3 or something. And I was like, wait, I don't think it is, but wait, it looks like it is. But then I was like, wait, so yeah, it's very confusing.
Yep. Okay.
Last question, pet peeves. It's fan favorite. People want to know, biggest pet peeves as either a disc golfer or maybe your biggest pet peeves in the media? What are things that get under your skin in the disc golf world? This is really interesting because I feel like nothing really gets under your skin. I feel like you're like cool as a cucumber.
I suppose.
He just thought of one that he can't say.
I suppose I think that I don't love it when a broadcaster like puts a lot of their own self, like their own kind of like, oh, I would have done this or I would have done that. Like I know a lot of us have played, but like we should put that aside and you should really limit the amount of times that you're going thinking about getting to this pin, or I can't believe he did that because I would have done this. Because I'm like, no one cares. Like you're not playing, you know, like you're just walking us through it. So we don't want to hear what you would have done. So that one kind of gets me when I hear that.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think a lot of times I just want to hear from like, if I have no idea what I'm watching, I want an analyst to just tell me like the difficulty of the shot and tell me maybe what the player is thinking about, and not so much being like, oh, well, I would throw a flex forehand here. And it's like, okay, well, you're not the person I'm watching though. So I want to know what that person's going to throw and why are they making that decision?
Or
that's a good point.
Or that every putt's a gimme. Because I'm sorry, but
oh my gosh,
putting's
yeah,
tough, man.
that's the greatest when someone throws it to 40 feet and be like, oh, well, they're going to birdie that hole. And I'm like, all right, I guess I can just turn it off now. Tournament's over. All right. Well, Nate, we appreciate you coming on, dude. Sorry again for the tardiness, and congratulations on making it, being one of the 8 to make it through the qualifier. I mean, like I said, there were some big names in there, so that was like a crazy small, like competitive little tournament there. And I wish you all the best of luck this week, man. It's fun seeing you back out there shredding the courses.
Well, sweet. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with me and ask me about my life and the Disc Golf Network. And I'll see you guys out on the course, man.
Sounds
Rack
good,
those
brother.
birdies up.
Heck yeah. All right. Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nate Perkins. Lots of, when he was talking about what do you call it? The quad crown?
Yeah.
What?
Whatever, dude.
What? Just like 12 hours of just, yeah,
constant disc golf.
Wild. The dude's a grinder though. All right. We got some other stuff to talk about here. So let me make sure I don't skip over anything. We got Bradley Williams. Okay, here we go. All right. So we'll just talk real quick about the Blue Ridge Championship let's just go over how it went for us, because it was not an easy course.
No.
By any means. And there was some wind that made it a little bit tricky. I played, this is how I would describe my first 2 rounds. Imagine you have a quarter in your hand, okay? And you're going to, every single time you step up to either the tee or your approach shot or a putt, even a putt, you have to flip a quarter. If it lands heads, just toss your disc out of bounds. If it lands tails, you can throw your normal shot.
Yeah.
That's how I played disc golf the first 2 days. It felt like, like every other shot felt like was just going out of bounds. I had 15 OB shots in the first 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might've beat you on the OB shots.
It's easy to go OB out there.
So easy. Okay. So then tell us about your final round though, which is,
yeah. So
what were you at going into the final round?
So I was plus 13 going into the final round. I did a live stream, which a lot of people that are with us right here were at that live stream on Friday night.
Yeah.
So after my first round, and I was like, all right, new goal. I'm going to try to jump into the top 50, because I was like in 100th place or something after the first round. I was like, all right, new goal, round 2. I'm going to try to jump into like the top 50. And then round 3, maybe try to make a move after that. because top 50 wasn't that far off after round one, right? Well, I went out and shot one shot better. I shot +6 instead of +7.
Okay.
So I actually went further down because I think the second day people kind of learned a little bit more about the course. So people played better than the first day. So I was in like 96th place, 97th, 98th place, something like that, going into round 3 at 13 over par. One thing I didn't really want to mention because I'm not a big excuse guy, but I had changed the way I was throwing that week. I did something differently in my backswing that was giving me extra power, which was awesome, but I had no consistency. I had no
On the tightest course.
I had no idea where the disc was
3
going.
years.
Yeah, I had no idea where the disc was going. So like I had a long conversation with Kelsey about it and stuff, and she was just like, just go back to what you were doing. And I was like, all right, that's fine. So I went back to my original, like natural form, if you will, what feels just natural. And yeah, so I don't know if Silas has the graphic, but I ended up shooting 8 down. At the time, that was tied for the course record, which Gannon ended up beating with 9 under later on. But yeah, I had one of the best rounds of the week out there. I also bogeyed one of the easier holes. I now know how to throw on an uphill lie though.
Okay.
Because it was hole, I think 7, like it was hole 8. The little chipper forehand out onto the hill, and then you're like throwing that way.
Up to the left.
I blasted my drive, so I was like halfway up the hill, and then I just try to do like a normal run up, and my up the hill, and my right leg just like stuck, and I just shanked it straight OB left from like 180 feet away. So I lost 2 strokes there, but all in all, it was good. Like I like that. I finally was like, you know what? That's how. Because it wasn't like I was making 60 footers and 70 footers and throwing in from all over the place. I was just throwing good shots.
Right.
And it felt good. And, I also shaved, which a lot of people, I was like, I got to change something.
I'm shaving tonight.
Yeah.
I saved it for the major.
There you go. Hopefully I didn't waste the magic on it. But yeah, that's kind of how my tournament went. It was kind of a roller coaster, if you will, of just being absolute dog monkey to then just playing really good.
Yeah. Well, mine was first round started off. I practiced a lot that week. So a few weeks ago, got the shoulder looked at. They gave me the green light. I can practice as much as I want.
Nice.
Right. So I've been practicing a lot, which I have not done in a year. I've played every day. So my game was feeling good. But the thing is like you, I started gaining extra power because I was practicing more. First round, I had some crazy anxiety for some reason. Like I felt great in practice. First hole, crazy anxiety, just absolutely tugged my first shot right under the basket. Oh, it was awesome. I'm like aiming to like lay up to the left a little bit, and I just shank it right and just base it, and then. To normal people are looking at me like, oh, he's going to have a good round. But in my mind, I'm like,
that's not what I was trying to do.
Yeah, like, oh, no. And then the wheels kind of came off, and I just struggled the whole round. But really, my tournament came down to 2 holes. One was a 500-footer up the hill.
Yeah, 9.
I double bogeyed that every round.
How did you play that hole?
Okay, this is what's funny. I threw mid-range first round.
Hate that.
Laid up, threw it to about 34 feet, airballed it down the hill, rolled a million miles. Second round, went for it, got lucky off the trees, kicked me inbounds, threw it to the exact same place I did the day before, missed it, rolled down the hill. Final day, I'm like, all right, I'm going sidearm. Because at this point, I was like 3 under. I'm like, okay, I'm going sidearm. I'm going to pitch up. I want to be on the left side going down the hill. Tugged my shot to the right, landed in the exact same place, airballed it down the hill, took a 5.
Oh, you did the same thing.
So that's 6 over par right there.
Yeah.
Then another hole, I ended up shooting 7 over. That's my tournament right there. That's 13 over par. That's what I finished. 2 holes kind of cost me really, really good play. The first round, even though I had that crazy anxiety, I made 7 outside the circle putts in the round, which was great. So moving into this week, even though it was an awful week, my mental was not good, especially the final round. Practicing every single day coming into this week, knowing that my putt's feeling really good. I have a little bit of extra power. I put in a lot of work this week. I still feel like I can learn a lot from that performance. So
Nice.
that's how it went.
Yeah, I think anyone that didn't quit and just like battled through, I think gained something from that tournament.
Yes.
Because that was not an easy tournament by any means. So yeah, that was
I mean,
man.
people were taking 15s.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second here.
Somebody took a
'cause-
14 and cashed, I think.
all right, so Kristen Tatar dominates once again. Like to the point of where
She played good.
it's getting to the point now where there was a little question at the beginning when like Cy won and she was kind of looking, Paige beat her at the Open at Austin and she just was looking kind of rusty. I feel like that is completely all gone out the window.
No rush.
She looks like she's not going to lose. Also, sick trophy. I always judge the trophy. Sick trophy.
Really cool.
Big fan of the trophy. So she takes it down shooting 22 under par. Next closest was Sarah Hokum at 13 under.
Which is a good score.
Yeah, that's their course. I watched a lot of it. Not easy either.
No.
So their first hole was like a birdie or double, basically hole.
Tough.
Where you're just landing your disc on like a 30-foot like long island. So I don't want to mess up her name. Hannah Wynn. I got that one right. Hannah Wynn with a huge performance for her, getting tied for third with Owen Scoggins at 12 under. You got Ella Hansen at 7. Holland Hanley, who's really having a pretty good season. She gets another top 10 at 8 under. Alexis Mandujano also gets a top 10 at 8 at 10 or 4 under. Sorry. Then we have some of the European players. We've got Heidi, Henna, and Silva, which I haven't heard the Silva. I haven't heard of Silva before, so I'm not sure who that exactly is. But they finished in there. Macy, after having a really good tournament previously, didn't really play that well. She finished 3 under on the final round, which was good, but she got 16th. Some other names on here that you're kind of looking at: Caroline Henderson, who's like the new up and comer player. She got a top 25, which I would say a few years ago, who cares, right? Because the field depth isn't that great. But I think now top 25 is getting harder and harder to get in the FPO division.
Yeah.
And then an interesting one is Evelina. I thought Evelina would have actually done pretty well here. It being a thrower's course. She finished at 35th. So I'm not sure exactly. I'm sure. Yeah, we don't really have UDIS stats on it, so I'm not really quite sure what happened there. But she's also someone that I'm going to keep an eye out on for Champions Cup, because the way that she can throw the disc, especially backhand, if she can get her putt figured out, I think she could be in the running at this tournament, potentially. So there you have it on the FPO side. Kristen Tatar coming in with a lot of momentum this week and just absolutely just boat racing the entire field. Just dominating the entire field. Her putt, that was another thing that was very iffy, I want to say. We're watching stuff right now. Her game, she legitimately, I hate ratings. I have to say it every single time before I talk about ratings. She legitimately might be the first FPO player ever to be 1,000 rated.
I agree.
She might actually have a chance to do it this season.
What's her rating currently?
Like 9.
Is it in the 980s?
I want to say 980s. I can look it up real quick. But
It's got to be close.
I think if she just has a few more good tournaments, she might 987.
Yeah, she's going to be close. Maybe with the next update.
I was gonna say a few.
Depends. This tournament, I'm wondering if it's going to rate real well. I think in the past it hasn't. It hasn't rated well. And so We'll see, though. I mean, if she's going to start winning by 10 shots, it's going to rate pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, she's on another level right now.
Yeah.
And it's really up to everyone else to prove that they can compete with her. Because as of right now, no one can. All right, let's talk Gannon Buhr real quick. Gannon Buhr wins again off the chase card once again. Not his first time. He's been there, done that. The kid's absolutely dominating so early in his career that it makes you just start thinking, like, what the heck is he going to do? Like, I don't know. It's tough to think about a kid his age being this successful this early in a sport. And I get it. It's a young sport, right? There's not as many established players on tour, but still the stuff that he's able to do right now, very impressive, very impressive, to the point of where if he continue, because there's no way he's at his, like, there's no way he's not going to get better. He's a kid still.
I mean, pump the brakes, because
you don't know. Am I hyping him up too much?
We've seen it before, though. No, you're not. No, of course
you've seen it before. I haven't.
Of course, we're.
So this is where your words of wisdom needs to. You need.
We've seen this before. We've seen it with Will Schustrick. Will Schustrick was 17 when he won the U.S. championship or something.
Okay.
Gannon beat that record with whatever his age was. So he might be a little older, whatever it was. He was young. Ricky Wysocki won a major his rookie year.
Okay.
That's not taking anything from Gannon. That's just showing that he's going to be great. Did Ricky get better? Yes. Do you think Ricky's better now than he was back then? Of course, knowledge gains you that kind of superiority as like being one of the best players in the world. Macbeth was successful early. We see this almost with all the greats so far, as they start off early and they just start winning. Gannon,
but it's different. You have
to you, yes.
I feel like it has to be. I mean, what Bradley just said about how, Bradley's been around for a long time, and he's talking about how the fields are getting so competitive.
Well, it's levels, right? So back then the fields were better than they had ever been, and now they're better than they were ever then. And so an individual at his age is going to have to do the same thing that Ricky did then. It's just different.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. It's just, I just think if you're a 17-year-old kid and there's only 5 pros that are actually practicing and actually like putting effort into their game and taking it seriously, because I've seen the massive change in the 3 years I've played from just players, like from players that are on tour, not practicing. They would go and do a practice round, kind of goof off, and then the rest of the day they're just chilling.
Yeah.
There's so many more people that are doing so much more than that now. So like, that's where it's like, I can see back then a 17-year-old kid just walking on and being like, oh, if I just beat a few people, yay. But now it's like, you have to beat so many people.
Yeah. But when Gannon's 37, there's going to be a 16-year-old kid coming in and beating everybody.
You think so?
I do. Yeah. I think that's just,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so though. Because you don't see that often in the NBA anymore. You don't see that many. Back in the day, you saw a lot of kids bounce from high school straight into the NBA. And it's very rare now, just because of how deep the NBA is. Obviously, you get some like freak athletes and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not as common, I feel like, as it used to be. I don't know. I'm not saying that he's not great and he's not going to be one of the greats. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. No, you're just saying you've seen it before.
I'm saying Ricky was the same person.
Yeah.
Is he going to get as many majors and as many elite? Paul Macbeth has 75 wins on the elite. Is he going to be able to do that?
Well, that's my point, though. My point is, I think a win now is way harder to do than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because you have to beat I mean, look at what's just happening right now.
Yeah.
People are winning off the chase card. That should tell you right now that the depth of the field is that never happened.
I hear you.
Literally, lead card, someone's going to win here because no one else is good.
I think if Gannon plays his best golf right now, Well, who was it? We asked them and they said, if we all play our best golf, we all birdie every hole. I don't believe that. If Gannon plays his best golf, the thing that he has that other people don't is that putt is ridiculous. It's not close. There's nobody close. There's no argument. Nobody putts it just like him. He is the best putter. I'd say times almost a half of the next person.
When he's locked in, it is ridiculous. The only other person I've ever played with that putted at that level was Isaac Robinson.
Yeah.
Isaac Robinson, when he went Idlewild, I played with him one round. He did not miss a single putt inside of 80 feet the entire round. And it was the most frustrating thing playing with that man.
Yeah, but that's like a weekend. This guy's doing it like he said.
Oh, you'll see that we played the Robinson brothers in doubles. You'll see it's not.
He said I haven't been putting good this year.
Yeah,
in his post round
he's
interview.
still really freaking good.
And he made everything. He's like, I'm finally feeling comfortable with my putt. I'm like, what does that even mean? He made it like you just
It's
won.
so sad.
You just won
It's
over
so
there in Austin.
It's so sad, man.
Making a putt from 30 feet up or what was it, 25 feet for the win, where you could have just laid it up. Like, don't talk to me about your putts not feeling good.
We talked to Bradley Williams. He got second. Kyle Klein, another great finish from another young gun kid. Third place. Calvin Heimberg, first time this year not podium. First time. Missed it by one
Here's
shot.
what's weird about that. This is what I don't like in disc golf about calling a top 3 podium. Because we have 4 people on the card. I just have and then back in the day, we used to have
like another little dark horse fourth spot for the podium, like add it, just a little.
Maybe.
Maybe you don't get to stand on anything. Maybe you're just at ground level.
Right. Like we're bringing it in like it's the Olympics or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I talked
top 4 is your top 4, which means you made the lead card. That's your feature. That's the people. That's the.
Well, he was on Chase card, but
no, I'm saying the top 4 at the end of the tournament.
I was talking to Hunter and Trevor a little bit about this. Podium, like in other sports, racing and some stuff like that, where they actually do have a podium at the end, it makes sense.
Yes.
For us, I think it's win, top 5, top 10, top 25.
I
think that should be the thing. So I don't take that.
I think
for what
top
you will.
5 is the watch we need to have for him.
Yes.
That's
you got
what
top
I
5.
think.
Yeah.
Or at least top 4.
I hate that. I'd much rather have podium than top 4. I hate top 4.
Yeah, but
I don't like
you
that.
make the lead card, you're on the you're the 4th person on the card. That's what it means.
We were just talking to him, Isaac Robinson, someone that you wouldn't really think would do well on, that type of open course.
But again, about picking him in my picks. That's what.
Did you?
I did. I saw him there, and I was like.
But what you had mentioned, one of his shots that he's very freaking good at is that straight 400-foot shot.
Yes.
He's got so many discs that he can do it with. So now that you said that, it makes a lot of sense that he did really well there and he putted really well. Ricky. Let's talk about Ricky real quick, because this tournament, probably if you asked him, he probably would say, like, I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but he finished, right?
Yep.
And he finished, he got top 10, he got 6th place, but now he's dropped out of Champions Cup. So I don't know what to think about his season so far, because it's like he wasn't playing well at Texas State's before he dropped. This tournament, he finished all the way through, played well enough to get a top 10. Yep. And then I haven't seen anything on his Instagram or anything about what happened. I don't know if you have any intel of why he dropped.
I practiced with him all week over there. He looked great. I think
so like a flare up maybe or something, or
I think it has to be. And I think we need to have him as a guest.
We might have to have him on next week. Yeah, because it's been a really weird season not having him more prominent, especially after his dominance throughout the last several seasons of just tour points and stuff. So we might have to have him on. Ben Callaway with a good finish. Vino, my pick, with a good finish, top 10. And then you have Mason Ford, Jakob, and Chris Dickerson. Big finish for Jakob too, because he was the last spot for USDGC qualifier, which we haven't really talked too much about that. We'll probably talk about that more later in the season when it start getting down to like the nitty gritty and like there's only a couple, spots. A couple names I do want to throw out. Harper Thompson, young kid, was on lead card going into the final round. He looks like the way he throws is very like Eagle-esque.
Yeah.
Just 125% power. Just rips it. And played really, really well the first 2 rounds. I don't know if the pressure got to him because I think I played with him the first round, he shot 55. Second round, he shot 57. Final day, he shot 63. So
Place is tough though.
it is tough. And playing on your first league card when you have a potential to win.
And they had to deal with that weather, man.
At the end, yeah. Well, he birdied 17 and then doubled 18. So he played those for +1. Eric Oakley's been kind of sneaky good this season.
Playing well.
Yeah, playing really, really good for him. Or good for him, I guess. And then we've got, let's just go down the leaderboard a little bit on maybe some people that, interesting that they didn't do as well. Because a lot of people, we talked about Proctor. He shot +8 his final round. He took a 10 on hole 18 and took a 9 on hole 12. Started his round also bogey double. So
What place did he get?
Gosh.
What
He
what place?
32nd.
32nd place with a 9 and a 10 on your card. That's the only place that'll ever happen.
That's wild.
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, I got 39th and I had 6 triple bogeys. I had 6 triple bogeys and I got top 40.
Oh my God.
That just shows you craziness. Chris Clemens, 39th. Not a good lefty hole. But lefty course.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Jeremy Colling and Kevin Jones, both with 50th place finishes. Jeremy battled though. First round 68, probably one of his, I guess you could say, more difficult. I don't know if you guys talked about it that much, but probably one of the more difficult rounds he's played in a long time.
Yeah.
And then came back the next day to shoot 8 shots better.
Really good, yeah.
Really good turnaround there. And then, I got to tell you one Emerson Keith story because I played with him, and this was very, very funny. The par 3 that's like on the hill, he's like 15 feet away. He has a decently, strong putt, I guess you could say. Straight center pull, middle basket. And it does like the little rockabye where it comes in and then rocks back, hits, rolls 35 feet down the hill, OB, and he kind of just freezes. And he turns and looks at me and goes, I'm going to putt again. And I was like, yeah. So he had a 15-foot birdie basically, and it turned into a bogey just like that. And it's like, man, that course is wild. All right, let's talk real quick about the Gorge as an actual course. I think it could be the best doubles course ever. If we were ever going to do a Disc Golf Pro Tour event where it was doubles, it should be at the Gorge because of how many different ways to play holes. There are so many holes where you have the safe play of where it's like, okay, I'm just going to get 350, 400 into the fairway. And then you could go aggressive and try to really push it, try to hit that tight gap, try to hit that tight flex. I think either match play or doubles, that course would be incredible.
I love that. That's a great take.
Either that or it needs to be the new home or USDGC. Same course designer.
Same course designer.
Just think about that. We're not going to be at Winthrop forever.
Some of those rules at that place needs to get fixed.
Yeah, and we'll talk. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about that a little bit. There are a couple holes that. Well, first off, I loved how the majority of holes played. Mm-hmm. I think 9 need to be tweaked a little bit. It needs to either get moved back as a par 4, so like move the tee pad back. I think it actually just move the tee pad back and make it a par 4. I think it'd be a great par 4.
Yeah.
And then I think 10, you either do the same thing where you move the tee pad back and make it a par 4, where you have to throw like a 450-foot drive to get to the spot to then throw your upshot up there, or move the basket down like 30 feet to the left to where now you can throw that straight back in like Calvin was playing and then you have like a 30-footer up the hill versus like a 60-footer.
Right.
Other than that, the only other changes that I think need to be made is some of the drop zones I don't like because they kind of they were too nice. So I don't like hole 3. I don't like the drop zone off the tee.
Right.
Because you shank your drive, you get put in the absolute prime perfect position to go up and down. Right?
Yeah.
I don't like 15's drop zone. Same thing.
Yeah.
You shank your drive versus someone that throws an okay drive and gets in bounds, and then they have a really, really tough upshot and they throw it OB, and now they're going to the drop zone, which is like a 60-footer for par, where the other person shanks their drive. They have a really easy upshot to save their par.
Yeah.
So there was a couple holes like that. Other than that, though, I loved the course. I thought it created stress throughout the entire time.
Mm-hmm. No, I really think it's a great piece of property. I love the course. I think you hit it perfect. Hit the nail on the head with 9. That needs to be moved back for sure because I doubled it every time. Basically, that hole shouldn't be there. No, I think it's a great hole. I think it's just, and I mentioned this earlier this week, I don't like the 500-foot par 3s. And it's not because I can't throw 500 feet. That's about my max. Like, I can get a putt on a 500-foot hole. I had a lot of people in my comments saying, oh, it's because you can't throw that far. It's like, that's not true. What my point was, if we averaged the distance of how far people are throwing and hitting fairways on the PDGA Tour, it would be probably about 500 feet with your max shot, right?
Might be even under that.
It might be under.
Yeah.
Do you see on the PGA Tour them making par 3s at 300 yards? It's a little different.
It is. It's a little bit different simply just because of how easy putting is.
Yes.
Compared to golf. But I agree. I think there should be, obviously elevation matters. Yeah. So if you take elevation out, I think maybe like a 450 might be like the max.
That's like a dream.
That should be like the max distance for our par 3s. And for like FPO, like 375.
I agree. I just think that 500-foot mark, it's the average distance of how far everybody is throwing to hit a fairway. That's not a par 3, man. Yeah. Like a par 3 needs to be a shorter, controlled shot, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's just my take on it.
I like some long par 3s too. Like I like 17 downhill. Like Music City 17 was like 385. Yeah. I like that, but I agree with you. I also like the shorter, more technical par 3s as well.
Because we have that plenty of take it as far as you can on the par 4s, get in position or don't do that. Mm-hmm. But as soon as it's a par 3, it's like everybody wants to see it go so far and all this stuff, and it's like I don't think that's a great hole. I don't think it is.
You know, it was a really freaking good hole.
I would rather
13.
I would rather see it.
13 was a disgusting hole.
Which one's 13?
It was that like 300-foot par 3. You got the 300-foot par 3,
up to the left,
and you've got the V trees.
Such a good hole.
If you hit one of those trees,
Dunzo.
It is so freaking hard to save par.
Yeah, see, that's a par 3.
Yes,
that's a
great.
Yes,
299. You probably need to throw something that got you 330, 340 because it was uphill.
Yeah,
and it was such a good score separator because even if you pured the gap, but you didn't throw it high enough, you gave yourself like a 45-footer.
Yeah.
So I love that hole.
Or
even though I played it like 5 over par, I think.
Or even on that 500-footer, you bring it back 75 feet and then you take it off of the cliff. Mm-hmm. It makes it to where some of those guys, I make it a par 4.
Drive like
both, you know what I mean?
Like a little drivable par 4.
But make it to where if you get to that 50-foot inbounds, you can make the putt with no, like nothing, right? Or you chip and get your birdie. I think that would be great. Yeah. But I don't know. And then 15, like you said, 18. Let's talk about 18. I thought that was ridiculous.
Well, let's bring up the meme here that I found. I don't know who posted this meme, but I thought it was very fitting for 18. I'll wait to see if Silas has the clown meme here. All right. So people scored 10 plus strokes on hole 18 at Blue Ridge Champs. Holes like these are great for score separation. It's a good design and a great final hole. We need more holes like this on tour.
Okay, so we had the dream scenario, right? We had the dream scenario of Bradley
had a birdie 18 to force a playoff.
and he doesn't do it. Why? Because it's a bad hole. That's why, right? That's why. It really is.
Gosh, I love that hole though so much in the sense of where it was such a. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me go over my points. Great tee shot, beautiful fairway, great island. Love it all. What I don't like is when you make it that island green, that small, then give everybody a viable way to get there. If you're ever throwing a shot around a corner on hyzer, because that's the shot to get onto the green.
Yep. Down the
and
right
it's
side.
on a slope with a bunch of rocks, nobody's going to do it. And if you do, they're going to take a 10 because you could throw a good shot and you're done. Give me a chance to throw the best shot and I don't have a chance to go out of bounds. That's not there. If I throw a perfect shot on that hole from back in the fairway, going hyzer around the corner, there's a really good chance that I don't stick that green. And then the next time I could throw it the exact same and stick the green.
Yeah.
And my next point is the layup zone. Oh, it's easy. Just throw it through there. When you make a layup zone with trees to where you miss it by an inch and you kick out of bounds still, that's a terrible layup zone to me. You know what I mean? Let's open up the green so that then you can lay up and then lay up to the green. You get what I mean? Like,
What if they?
People, if you're taking 10s and 12s, I don't mind that.
Well, yeah, because they're 10 cupping it.
Yes, they're back there.
They're back there, and there's like, I'm emptying my bag.
I'm the type of guy who I'll go for it. If I miss it once, take my medicine, take the double bogey, and get out of there. I'm not going to lose the tournament right here.
Yeah, it's so close to being perfect. It's so close to be, because I'm with you on the fact of, I think the shape of the island green, like the size of it, is perfect for like a 300-foot upshot. But most people are having like 400 feet in there, and it just didn't fit for that. But I'll tell you this.
What is a lefty going to do there?
I'll tell you this.
What's a lefty going to do there?
Lefties just get screwed on tour. I don't know how Chris Clemens is as good as he is, because we play so many courses that lefties are
He's
just.
got a 500-foot sidearm.
I played that hole the same way all 3 rounds. I went big hyzer right. Okay. No stress at all. Easy. Yep. Then I went putter up into the gap, a little fade to the left. Easy. But then that third shot, every single time, was stressful as heck.
Yeah.
Even though I played it like the safest way possible, every single time I'm staying there and I have a gap and I've got 150 feet and I not only have to hit the gap, but I also have to, I can't just like late, because like some people like to, I heard Gannon on the Jomez practice round. He was talking, him and Germ, they were having that conversation on him saying like he likes to, in the gap, he likes to throw full power.
Yeah.
And Germ was like, oh, I think like that's not for me. I like kind of touchy through gaps, right? If you're that guy that just wants to laser something to get through the gap, that is a nightmare green to try to laser something through and have it stay. Yeah, so maybe instead of doing like Dubai and like making an island out of nothing, maybe they just are a little bit more like, maybe move that line long, the OB line long up a little bit. Give a little more space there.
That island, take it from there.
The only thing I hate about that is it is going to be so hard to tell whether or not people like see that. That's the only thing I don't like.
That's part of that. That happens in golf too.
No, I know.
It's tough.
I know.
But I don't like that. I threw a shot, landed on the island green up top deep where you want to hit it, the fat part, and then I rolled off the island.
Oh.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Give me a soft
what if
place to
they
land.
what if they just kind of leveled out that green a little bit? So instead of having like those like
put hay bales around it.
Ooh,
I would
hay
love
bales
that.
around it. So if you hit it, you stay
You're
on.
good. You know what I mean? Like Give a
I could be
good
down.
shot.
I could be down for that.
Give a good shot, an opportunity.
Hay bales might not be like the vibe I'm getting from that course though.
Maybe some like wood stakes, some wooden.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Stakes.
I gotta try to think of a little bit more. I don't want rocks. I want less rocks.
I don't like rocks.
They destroy your disc.
There's a lot of rocks out there.
All right, we already.
This was pretty. Before we go on, that place was beautiful. That place is beautiful.
And apparently, you can just go up there, rent an Airbnb on the course, and play. So if you guys want to do that, I highly recommend it. All right, let's talk world rankings real quick. We've got some new changes here, and I'm going off of UDIS. And the reason why I'm going off of UDIS here, guys, is simply for the fact that UDIS is like starting to have a little bit more of an impact because apparently Gossage was just telling me that if you were top 25, I believe, last year from UDIS World Rankings, you qualified for European Open this year.
Oh, okay.
So that's starting to happen now.
Yeah.
So
they're important.
So we're going off of this. We have Gannon Buhr jumping 3 spots now to number 1. Did you hear his thoughts on him saying that he doesn't believe he's the number 1 player in the world?
I did. But
And what are your thoughts on that?
It sounds like a kid with not that much experience. Give him 3 years and he's going to be saying that he's the number 1 player in the world, even if, let's say, Calvin's beating him. That's just my take. That's what I think. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You think Paul's going to ever say that he's not the number 1 or Ricky or down the line? I think that's just inexperience in the moment right now.
Okay. So our top 10 right now, let me know if you think any of these are kind of like, what the heck? Gannon, Ricky, Calvin, Simon, Paul, Eagle, Chris, Kyle, AB, Joel. Anything jump out at you there? I feel like Calvin should at least be 2 to me.
Yes. I think
That's the first thing that jumps out to me.
I think that Calvin moves up to 2, Simon moves up to 3, Ricky moves behind Paul, and then I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Chris right now is pretty high based off of what he did last year. Yep. On the FPO side, let me see if I can. Here we go. FPO side, we have Kristen Tatar. The dominance index on this thing is ridiculous. All right. Just to compare with the MPO side, you have 58, 56.9, 56.1, 50. FPO 129. Next is Cat at 51.
And then it's close.
And then it's like 48.
And then it falls off
Paige 38, Natalie Ryan 38, which I'm not sure how. I don't know how she's still on there, but I guess they just don't remove anyone ever. You have Hannah on there still. Own Holland, like we talked about, having a really good season. Ella Hansen having a good season, and Sai after her big victory, jumping up there in the top 10 as well, or staying in the top 10, if you will. But I mean, that's just, I didn't even realize that number is just baffling. Like,
She just keeps winning a lot. And when she loses, she's getting second, third.
I want someone to crunch the numbers. How many times would Katrina Allen have to win? And like Kristen, obviously, let's just say Kristen gets top 3, right? She gets third or second, but Kat wins.
3,
How many wins?
4?
How many wins does Kat need to have to pass Kristen? You think 3?
Well, look at Gannon.
I think it
Gannon
might
jumped.
No, but they're all very close.
Yeah, but I think they're not as close because the points. I think some of it has to do with points, doesn't it?
No, it's literally just who you beat. I think Kat might have to win 7 times.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I think Kat would have to win like 7 times, and Kristen would have to get like second or third 7 times in a row for her. I don't even know if that would be enough.
What if Kristen gets 40th?
Yeah,
and she wins. Better chance.
Then she would. Yeah, she would. The points would definitely change a whole lot, but still, like the amount of. Because like if you look on the MPO side, there are some people, right, that have had like bad results, right? Some of these people in here have had like bad results this season, and they're still kind of fairly close. So you don't lose incredibly that many points, but I don't know. We'll see. Holy smokes. All right, tour point standings real quick, because we are kind of like a quarter through the season at this point in time, which is just flying by. Obviously, we know all the people that are at the top, very similar to the world rankings. What I want to look at is kind of the cut line. So the cut line this year is that 32 spot. This is going to be a line that's going to obviously change a whole lot because looking at this, you can see there's a lot of people that just have blanks, right? That don't have points that they will get. But right now you have Ricky outside, and this might be a storyline because at a certain point in time, I mean, he's going to have to start playing tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
you need to play tournaments. Yeah.
Because I don't know. That might be something that we need to talk about later. But then there again, like Nate Sexton always seems to kind of sneak in there by just playing a few tournaments. But these are some people: James Conrad, Alden, myself, Matt Bell, Ezra Robinson are all barely in. And then on the outside, you got Scott Withers, Kale, and Kevin Kiefer. All right, let's move to Champions Cup preview real quick. We talked a little bit about the qualifier. I want to get your thoughts real fast because we're going to try to wrap up the show here shortly because we're running a little late. But I got a few more things I need to roll through. What are your thoughts on the qualifier? Do you think the fact that this has happened and you've got names like Kevin Jones, Garrett Gurthey, Ezra Aderholt, you got big names not competing this week? Do you think this is what needed to happen for the PDGA to be like, hey, we might need to make changes on how we do signups?
Yes, of course. I mean, we've needed a change for a long time. The whole rating sign up thing, I never really liked that. I always say that you need to be going off of world rankings, which we haven't had a good one. The world rankings of UDisc, I feel like you could go off of that pretty easily, and then the top whatever, depending on how many times they played, like that you have to have played a certain amount in order to get a qualifier, right?
Yep.
And then if you're top, 80 whatever, that's who gets the spots.
I want it also to be like you're in, like USDGC too. If you qualify, you still have to like sign up.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be that way. I think that's backwards. I think if you qualify for something, you're in, and then you have to reach out to them to let them know that you're out.
Yeah.
That you're not going to play it.
Yep.
But I'm not making excuses for anyone that didn't sign up. That's their fault. And I've made that very clear. Everyone had the same situation. They just didn't do it on time. But man, it's going to be a weird tournament having some of these top 20 guys, top 10 guys right now in the world that want to play that can't.
It should never be a thing.
Yeah.
Like it just should never be a thing.
So we're going to be on the lookout for Ricky, seeing what happened there. I haven't heard anything, nothing. He's gone kind of quiet on his social media. So we'll see what happened. Hopefully it is nothing serious. Hopefully it's just a flare up, but he ended up dropping out this week. Kona also had some issues last week that she was playing through. She ended up dropping out as well. So those are the two people that kind of didn't get in. Let's talk real quick before we kind of wrap up. World's VIP passes. Did you see this? Did you see any of this?
I got the email.
$1,240.
Yeah.
$1,240. Silver pass, $830. VIP pass for the week, $263. If you just want normal general admission, $20 on the weekday, $30 on Saturday, $40 on Sunday. The gold pass. So this is what your $1,240 gets. Full VIP access and merch, course overview with Jeff Spring. You get to play 3 rounds on the Pro Worlds course. You get exclusive gold merch. You get Fall Fest 2-night VIP access to Fall Fest after party, food and beverage, whatever that means, player meet and greets, GK Pro Skins VIP access, opening ceremony access, and more. What are your thoughts on that? That's so much money.
It's a lot of money, man.
That's so much money. I don't
know, man.
I like the general admission.
That's what I was going to say.
I like
the general admission.
I don't know if I would change Saturday to Sunday. That's the only thing is like, I think $20 for weekday, fine. And then maybe the weekend, the weekend's a little bit more expensive. That's all right. But going, having $10 increase from Saturday, Sunday is kind of weird to me. But like the 1240,
I want to know how many gold passes what if you sell like
how many are they going to
hundreds
sell?
what if you sell hundreds of them?
Oh, you think they're not going to limit it?
I don't know. What if there's a lot
Is
of
it really
fans out
that
there,
VIP? I feel like it has to be limited.
and then there's just like 100 people out there playing the course?
I don't know.
I don't either.
There's a lot of
I
things.
like it. I think that's cool to be able to pay to go do that stuff. I mean, that sounds pretty cool to me. On the PGA Tour, they have like that AM rounds and stuff to where people go in and play, and that's.
I like that. Yeah. I wish there was it was a little more like piecemeal. Like it was a little more broken down to where they were like, you know what? If you want to play with the pro, we have 100 spots to play with the pro. It's $50. Not if you want to play with the pro, like, because if I'm someone that's like, I really want to play with the pro, and the only way for me to do that, well, I guess I could do Silver Pass, which is $830. But like, if that's the only,
How much is it to do it in other things, in other sports?
well, I don't know, but I'm saying just me, all this other stuff on here, I do not care. I do not care about merch access. That's also something that's always weird to me is like when you get like access.
What's something that you haven't done? This is tough. What if it's a VIP pass to get cool stuff at a fight? And you go in there and they give you all the stuff and you can get in there and you can fight somebody. You can go
you're allowed to get your freaking leg kicked by someone.
You have to put on the thing and do the punch test.
Yeah, you just get freaking beat up by a professional fighter. I don't know. I think the other thing too that is kind of a little bit alarming is it's going to cost money for people to get there. Like it's going to be very expensive. It's very expensive. Like this is not even your flight there. This isn't even your room and board.
Hey, they're paying it. Who cares?
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, that's their choice.
Sure.
The price point is what it is. There's a lot of stuff in there.
There is, but I don't know if the value's there. But okay, that's just my opinion. All right, Zach Milton. Zach Milton got freaky on Twitter. Said something that we've been saying for a very, very long time, but it's nice to see some other pros take it. He did it in a funny way. So Zach Milton basically said, spoilers isn't a real thing anymore in disc golf. Back when we only had post-production, it was a thing. Not anymore. We're live every weekend. If you choose not to watch or cannot watch, you got to avoid social media. The world will not stop for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's true.
So I think it's getting more and more common now. I think people are really getting pissed off by spoilers and be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you put the name of the winner in the." And it's like, live is
Get
king.
over it.
Live is king, and post production will always have a place. There will always be somewhere for people to want to watch after the fact. And I still love watching post production before tournaments. I just watched the Jomez video last year of the final round of Champions Cup. I love that. That won't ever go away. But we can't like stop having people talk about it on social media. That's a good way of also like increasing viewership is like people talking about it. And then people are like, oh, what the heck? Am I missing something? I got to tune in. All right. First available of the week. The first clip here that we have is of Calvin Heimberg. His disc is underneath a rock. He can't get his foot under the disc. So the rule says that you can take your lie on top of the rock. And so you have Bradley Williams like doing the crane game where you're like the claw game where you're trying to like grab something.
You're good.
He's like, all right, a little bit back and a little bit forward. All right, right there. And this was just like, I watched this live happen. I don't know how I feel about this. This looks weird. I mean, this is so silly. Bradley pulled his phone out to record it himself. And now if we go to the other clip here, this is even crazier where we have Hannah here, Hannah Wynn.
Up ahead.
She is legitimately walking through
And Hannah found the swamp.
knee-high mud to get to her
don't think
disc
Gore-Tex
because
is
her
gonna
disc is not
help
OB.
you there.
She's not out of bounds. She's just in mud, and she doesn't.
Play it as it
it's not
lies.
casual relief, and so she throws her shot with just mud all over herself, and then she goes into the creek to wash herself off after the fact. Do we need to do something with casual relief? And this is not just like
What
mud.
if that was quicksand? You're done. You just.
But this isn't just mud. This isn't just rocks. But this is also like signage. This is porta potties. This is trash cans. This
You
is
gotta have
all
relief. You gotta have relief.
What are we doing?
You gotta have relief from all of the stuff. If there is you gotta have relief from.
Like you're in a snake
cars
pit.
and-
Good luck. Like
Yeah,
get your
exactly.
snake
Indiana
charmer out.
Jones.
Yeah.
To get her out of the mud. You know what I mean?
I mean, I saw that and I was like, this is wild. And this is why I don't wear golf pants. So suck that, Ezra. All right. Let's do our picks and then we'll get out of here. This has gone on long enough. I've got the first tee time tomorrow. So I gotta freaking go to bed. All right.
Okay.
Let's pull up.
I'm gonna pull it up.
The nice thing about our picks this week, the people that we're going to pick are going to play the tournament. So that's awesome. Who went first last week?
I don't remember. I think you did.
I feel like you say that every time.
I feel like I need to.
No, I think did I go last week? Wait, let me see. Who were the picks? I guess I can tell by the picks. Did I go Proctor last week? First pick, and then you went Wysocki? Mm-hmm. That might have been right.
Yep.
All right. So I went first last week. So you get it this week.
Okay. And we can't pick.
You can't pick the names that are off the list this week. You cannot pick Proctor, Matteo, Vino, Ricky, Kyle Klein, Bradley Williams.
My first pick will be Simon Lizotte.
All right. Yuli goes with Simon.
Simon.
All right. That's a good pick.
Thanks.
I am going to go with, this is the one where we can go heavy hitters. We can go heavy hitters here. So I'm going to go obviously with Calvin this week. All right. So you got Simon. I went Calvin. Okay. And then my second pick is going to be, gosh, I played with him. He's so good. Isaac Robinson. Yep.
Gannon.
You're going Gannon. Yep. Ooh. You got one more. I'm hoping you're not picking.
I gotta
thinking. What?
I gotta pick this guy because he's a defending champ.
You're going Dickerson?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you very much. I will go Gooseman.
Gooseman.
He was 9 under through like 15. And then no. He finished 8 under. Yeah, he finished 8 under, I think. And he took a double on 17 and then bogey on 18 to finish 8 under. He was shredding. He was shredding. It was very hard to watch because Ezra was not shredding. And so like that.
Yeah, two of the
That
homies
difference
and you're
between,
like,
and you're just my gosh. All right, so there you have it. Simon, Gannon, Dickerson for Yuli.
Oh wait,
Oh, you're gonna drop someone.
I can't do it. I can't pick Chris because
You're gonna pick Paul.
No,
The chat wants you to pick Paul.
Yeah, I bet.
The Yuli switch, man. Are you switching Dickerson?
I am.
Okay, Dickerson's
I like
out.
my other picks. I'm gonna go. Give me a second, because this is
fine.
I do this thing where I just kind of go through, and then the one that the eye.
That's what you use eye
all of a
test.
sudden, I'm in.
Pick Clemens, man. Come on, show some lefty love. Felberg's in the field.
Dave's in the field.
Felberg.
Okay, I got it.
Hebenheimer. Hebenheimer.
Hey, I'm gonna go. This guy is just so good. I don't know how I could. How do I pick him though? Oh no. All right, I'm running out of time. I feel like I'm running out of time.
This is definitely the longest you've picked, and this is where I think
Matteo.
I think it's gonna fail. Not to say anything bad against Matty O, but normally you're so quick with like changing your picks. This week you took a little bit longer, and I think the death of your switch picks will be bad.
Okay. I like Matty O.
We'll see there. Champions
I
Cup.
didn't want to just keep picking the best players. I wanted to throw, and he's really good. Is he still top 10? No, he dropped.
No, he's not in the top 10 anymore.
Wanted to pick. When you pick the Goose Man, I'm picking Matty.
I think I have 2 people though in the top 10 though. I think Isaac is in the top 10.
Okay.
Maybe not. We just looked at it, but my brain is mush at this point.
Yeah, it's late.
Champions Cup, guys, starts tomorrow. Disc Golf Network. It's free on YouTube.
Yeah.
First day, free on YouTube. So tune in. First major of the year. You've got so many storylines of players trying to win for the first time. You've got, can Dickerson come back? Can Kristen win? She kind of choked this one away last year. We didn't even really mention that.
That's true.
So we'll see. Paige is playing with like an injury. There's a lot of things going down. We'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure, next week. But we appreciate all you guys tuning in this week. Thanks to our guests for coming on, Brad and Nate. It was very nice having them on. We'll try to get Ricky on next week. I think that'll be a good person to talk to next week.
Agreed.
We might just do a full Ricky interview next week. One person.
Okay.
Potentially.
Well, we need to get the winner, whoever the winner.
We probably need to get.
That'll be one of us. So
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll get one of us. We'll get Ricky, and then we'll get Kristen.
Perfect.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. Have a nice night.